All right, so I'm going to quickly take my comment head here for my programs, and I'm going to clean out these pieces. And I'm just going to say that this and this need to come out. Then I'm going to save it. So I'm going to save it into my Python file, my Python folder. I'll say this is my program comment head.py, so I always have it. And now I can do file save as and make this my new program that we're going to be working with. So new, we're going to call it exploring. So this is module 2, exploring. It's going to be my folder to put it in. You always want to have a really good file and folder organization. You want to make sure your names are there, and don't use spaces because some programs flip out because they can't understand spaces in file and folder names. So just don't do it. So we're going to say exploring mod 2 Gurney L. Sounds good to me. We have .py on there. We're going to save this in here. Program it is exploring mod 2 Gurney L, and the description is exploring multiple print items. We're going to look at math again. We'll have a quick look at variables. So that should keep us out of trouble. You never know. And again, I'm doing this on 5.8. And it's my initial writing for this one. So I'm going to be doing this on like 5.9. And it's my initial thing, so I'm going to save this again, make sure it's saved. Everything's saved, yay! So that section needs to be commented out. So I'm going to highlight it and format, comment out region, and everything's all happy. We're hunky-dory. So let's look at commenting, at printing multiple values. So we looked at this briefly last class or last lecture, and I just want to make sure we know how to do it again. So high, space, because it prints exactly what the characters are within the field, within the string, so within the quotes, and plus, so plus guys and gals, end print in quotes and parentheses, and this should, if you save it and hit F5, say hi gals and girls. And so the plus around the two added it together, concatenated it. Again, concatenating was putting two things together. What if we want to try this separately? Let's do print quote hi and then a comma. So these are separated groups of things. So it's a separate separated values. And we'll do quotes you, comma, quotes all. Hello you all. We'll save that and run it, and we get hi you all. So either way works. Sometimes you'll need one way more than the other, or you'll want to look at something, so you'll be bringing in pieces. And in a few minutes, I'll show you how this is going to be really powerful when we're working with variables. So what about variables? That's a good question. That whole concept of variables is how to store information in memory that you can keep pulling back and referencing later. So let's say you have a variable that has a great long sentence. It's got half a book written in it. The variable understands that. Say my variable is university. University. You're going to spell it wrong every time. Equals is an assignment operator. So instead of being math all the time, equals actually assigns things from the right-hand side. So it assigns the value found on the right-hand side of the equals into the variable name on the left-hand side. So university is now going to hold Husson University is my alma mater, is my school. exclamation point, and quotes. Life is good. There, we've declared a variable called university. That is the name of the variable. We've given it a value, which is Hassan University is my school. And now I can call that later and say print university. And I've got university there. I should be able to save and run, and it prints Hudson University is my school. That's a lot shorter than writing quotes, Hudson University is my school, exclamation point, quotes, every time I want this. Now if I said, let's see, we'll copy that. Oops. We'll copy that and paste it a couple of times. We're going to play with it. So Hudson University. So we're going to say print university and is awesome in parentheses, in quotes, so that's going to add to it. I'm also going to do comma on the next line. I've copied the print university and I'm doing it twice. And I'm going to say 2015 plus 4. So this should be my expected graduation date. If this is when I started, and I'm going to hit F5. Hudson University is my school. Hudson University is awesome. Is my school is awesome. And Hudson University is my school 2019. Let's comment out the first two lines here. The print university and print university is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and do format comment out region because I just don't need it right now. And where it says print university, comma, 2015 plus 4. So that's a stringed variable, or variable holding a string, and we've got some math going on that are int. I'm going to also put in here a quote. Stop that. So I've got my comma. Right after the comma, I'm going to go quote. Expected graduation, colon, space, quote, comma, my 2014, or 2015 plus 4. That should be that when I save and run, I get Hudson University is my school, expected graduation date 2019. Not too bad. And my program is there, and I can keep pulling things in. So my variable is used to store data so I can reference it later. In this little example, it's not super useful, but it demonstrates how I can call it. Now, what if I was to get information from somebody? So let's pull information from our user. We're going to prompt whoever is playing with our program to give us something. So we're going to say, we're going to put it into our variable. Let's say name is going to be a variable. And I'm going to assign what the request for information gives me for a variable. So input, we're going to ask for input from the user. Input is a function, so it has parentheses, and parentheses are where it gets its parameters. Inside the input, we're going to say quotes, what is your name? Question mark and quotes. So input will prompt the user with what is your name. The user will type something in, which is what is given back to the function input. Function then says, okay, I got this information, I've got this name, this value is here, I'm going to return it, and the equal sign says, well, you're going to return it into the variable name. So let's see if that works. We'll save F5. What is your name? Laura. Hit enter, and it appears that nothing happened. Let's see what happened over here. If I print name, save and run, so what is your name? Laura. And I get Laura. So I get the exact string that I got before. So it prints out what is your name. I typed in Laura. It gives me Laura back because I asked to print that immediately after. And I've got the lowercase from when I entered it. So this is exactly what we're doing. If you wanted to have my part where the user had to enter their name on the next line instead of right after the question mark, you just use the escape sequence for a new line, which is \n. And you would put it right after your question mark, \n. Save, run, Fred. And we get Fred back. Now, what if I say age? I want to find out what is their age. I'm going to copy this by going age equals input. Age equals input, parentheses. What is your age? I'm going to put a new line for an escape sequence. End quotes, end parentheses. And then I'm going to print your age is space end quotes plus age. So I am going to print my string, and I'm going to then print the value of my variable. So I've gotten the variable, I've assigned what the user gave me from the input into the variable age, and I have your age is as a string. I'm going to add on or append the value of age. So we'll save, run it, and we get what is your name, Laura? What is your age? Well, I'm obviously 21, and your age is 21. Not bad. One problem here. I know that input returns a type. Remember we talked about values and types, and that the types are string, integer, and floats, or floating point variable values. I know that input returns type string. So if I say print age plus 1, I should have a logic error. Laura, 23, 32 this time. I have an error. It's not an int. It doesn't understand this. So age can't run. Let's comment out that line because we don't want that one to be there. And we'll say this is an error because input returns string. So it's a type of string. You can't do math on strings. Let's fix our age underscore converted. I'm just making a new variable. That's all I've done is said age, and I'm going to make it the converted one. So age underscore converted just is another variable equals, and we'll say int. So we're converting it to an int of age. So if I go ahead and print this, so print converted, age converted, it asks me what's your name, what's your age, I'm 102, your age is 102, and then it gives me 102. That doesn't prove that I converted it, so let's try it. So how about print, I'll go back here, and my print age converted will add 5. Why not? Save and run. It's Laura. I'm 234 years old. I am now 239 years old. Perfect. It worked. This is now an integer. What if you have somebody like my child? My youngest will say, I am 7 1/2, or I am 7 3/4. So you might have somebody who does that type of thing. You would not use an int. You'd use float. I'm going to put a little comment in here. And if you check in the book, there's a little table that tells you which ones are there. We have int, we have float, and we have string. So we have an int converting method or function, we have a float converting function, and we have a string converting function. So you take the thing you want to convert, you shove it in between the parentheses, and it should convert it from one to the other. So what if I had a 5 that I wanted to convert to be a string so I could print it out a certain way? Okay, think about that for a second. So you'd make a variable name, variable, okay, we'll do convert string. equals string, and inside here we do 45. And that would convert 45 to string, and then you could do string things to it. You could put it in a statement of what is your age, convert string, and it would be 45. So far we're doing pretty well. We've looked at a few variables on how to do them. Again, read the book, it's really good. We've looked at how to convert what we receive from the input. We've gotten input, we've stored it in a variable, we've converted it from one type to another, and now I want to look at, a method. Let's look at some methods. So methods are really interesting. Methods are done through dot notation. A function stands alone, and you put things inside the parentheses, and it does an activity, or it manipulates whatever you gave it inside the parentheses. They don't always have to receive something in the parentheses for the parameter, but they can do that. They stand alone without being attached to anything. Where methods are developed specifically to be attached to a type, a class, something like that. So if I've got, where were we? We've got university. I've got university. So print university dot upper. And note that I have to close two sets of parentheses for this to work. So I save it, and I run it, and my name is still me, and I'm still 5,000 years old, and Hudson University is my school, because I converted the lowercase to uppercase using dot notation to link them together. That's what the period does, is it links the two together, so dot notation. And upper is a method that can be linked to something that is a string. So it's a string method. And string methods only work with strings. Leave that alone. All right, so I am going to say print. Note that I can nest other things inside each other. So I can say I want to print the, I can print the age that's converted. I can print university that's been uppercased. So it's kind of cool. So university dot replace parenthesis. This one's neat. This one takes an old value and replaces it with a new value. It's kind of awesome. So if Hudson University is my school, I can replace the word my. So I'll do quotes, my, and it will look for that string, comma, and I want to replace it with your. So this is replacing the my with your, so it should say Hudson University is your school. Invalid syntax. Uh-oh. What does that mean? So we've saved it, we try to run it, and we find invalid syntax. Well, what do you mean I've got invalid syntax? I did what I thought I was supposed to do. Note that red line. It's saying you closed the second set of parentheses, but you never closed the first set of parentheses. So your first set of parentheses has to be closed too. Now we'll save it, we'll run it, and it says, what's your name? I'm Fred. What is your age? I'm 243, 34. Hudson University is my school. Hudson University is your school. And since I had not replaced the value of university, when I did print university upper, I didn't replace the value in the university because I never used an equals. I just changed it when it displayed it. So the original state still stayed there. And I have not changed the value of university by using the replace. I've only replaced it because if I go ahead and say print university, it should be that I get Laura is 23 and everything is right back to normal. So that's kind of neat that you can take these methods and adapt what's being outputted without changing the variable or the content of the variable. Really helpful. So we have looked at multiple print items, we've looked at math, and we've looked at some things with variables, and we also did some input and assigned it to variables, converted our strings using the methods, the string methods. I think we've done quite a bit for this one. I will talk to you guys later in the next lecture.